Something I was comfortable with. No, these things weren't something I really ever wanted to do. California was never a trip I wanted to go on, but it ended up being one of my favorite things this summer. Most of the trips I've went on, we went to New Mexico here before. Went with David, helped work on this, work on that. We had a tool bag, and I'm comfortable with a tool bag. I feel like I can go and fix something, help somebody that way. So California was a little bit different of a trip for me. It wasn't the tool bag that I was used to. It wasn't something I felt comfortable with. So God gives us opportunities where we can go and do things for other people. We can choose to take those opportunities as they come, or we can choose to let it pass. If we let it pass, God will just find somebody else to send. The pictures and videos you see just don't do justice to how bad it was out there. You get off the plane and you just see tents all over the place there in Los Angeles. There's homelessness is everywhere. People don't have nothing, especially getting into Skid Row. So there was a lot of different things we done out there. We had around here, you go to Salvation Army and you feed, 50 people. Well, out there it's different. You feed 650 people. And that was really humbling to stand in line when 650 people are coming through. You're seeing elderly, young people, kids, just hungry. They don't have a whole lot. That place is called the Dream Center. You get there, it's really overwhelming of what all's going on there. You can't just fix everything, but you're called to care, not to cure. So some of the things we've done the food lines. We were in, you see some of the pictures through there. Everything's donated to that place. Everything comes in, people donate stuff. There's pallets and pallets, and they've got 4 box trucks that go out every day throughout the city and hand out food. So we would spend mornings there. I think some pictures should have just had it play random, but we would take pallets of food and just break them down into bags and load them up on the truck and go out to different areas in the city. One day we give out groceries for 160 some people off of one truck, and there's 4 of them that go out every day. So God's really providing what's needed there. It's just overwhelming to see the amount of food that comes out through there. We also went into the government housing projects, and you'll see a picture of a basketball goal up there, a basketball court. So the Dream Center, they've been doing this for a number of years, and they've got a relationship with the people out there. They know who they are. They know they're there to help. So we went knocking door to door. They sent us out in a couple pairs, and they said, just go through the apartment complex and knock on doors and invite kids down here for the kids jam. We'll have games and we'll give out groceries there as well. But that was really intimidating. It's like, go knock on the door here? What are we doing? That sounds a little dangerous. Well, maybe it was, but God was with us through there. That place they'll take in people for substance abuse issues. You'll live there. They'll rehab you. You get the gospel while you're there. They've got a whole floor for sex trafficked women. They'll work with them there as well. They do a lot of things. It's a really big place. I think they told us their electric bill, just their electric bill utilities, was $1 million a month. That just sounds outrageous. And it's all volunteered, all the money's donated. It's not like the government's giving them money, but the government would, but they would have to take Jesus out of it, and they refused to do that, which, I think that's an obvious thing there. So I got to go on 2 trips down Skid Row there. It's 52 city blocks worth of it. And that's just nothing but tents as far as you can see. Now, I mean, the roads just normally going into California, anywhere you go, you're going to see tents. Every underpass you go to, somebody's living there. And, a lot of them don't even have a tent. It's, some of them have a mat, some of them have a blanket, some of them just sleep there on the sidewalk. I can't imagine. But we would go through and, that's definitely not something that I thought I was going to be equipped to do, go through and actually witness to somebody like that. It's not my tool bag, not my cup of tea, but, we were sent and that's what was offered, so that's what we done. And I was amazed at how God just, led you who to talk to, what to say, how to do it. I mean, everything was just provided for. It was amazing, just something simple. Just go pray for their safety. Give God something to work with. It's not we're just told to go spread seeds. We're not told to make it grow or anything, that's God's job. We just go and we give God something to work with. And when you go, he'll give you something to work with. I think I might have had too many different thoughts and too many different notes for this week. I'm not even sure where to start and where to go to. So, be patient with me as I ramble on a little bit. This last trip that we did in Jamaica, you can really see God moving there too. Just providing these kids with things that they don't normally have, they wouldn't have. Some of the stories I can't even share with what's going on out there, what those kids have come through, what they've seen. They've been through some rough stuff there. When you talk about dirt floor poor, that's dirt floor poor. That's the first time I've ever been to a third world country. Once you get away from the city and the airport, you're in the jungle. It's different out there. There's not running water. I mean, they have cisterns. Hot water's just heated on the roof. And that was at the facility we were at. A lot of people just, have buckets and things outside. Even where we was, staying in the facility, when we take a shower, you get wet, you cut the water off, you lather up, and then you rinse. It's not, oh man, I've been in here 20 minutes and I ran out of hot water. No, that's not an option there. But it's still great. It's from what they've come from to what they have there is amazing. The people there are amazing. The staff to take care of those kids, they got it broken up into different pods by ages and things. So, see some of the pictures there. We helped with homework. We done a lot of painting there. It was fun to help the kids do their homework, and they really push them over there too. I guess they got to get it done quick because preschoolers, they were spelling and writing words, and it's like, wow, they're really doing something there. But I'm assuming that's probably because the majority of them don't have the option to go all the way through high school. They might have to go get a job or go do some work and things. I'm not sure how that works out for them. It was a pretty place to be, and it's pretty to see how God was working there, even way back off grid and stuff. So that was definitely a good trip as well. There's always something you can do there. There's all kinds of maintenance work. I felt a lot more comfortable on that trip. That was a lot easier to just, here's your paintbrush and go show some love. That was simple. So one of the nights out in California, I know I'm hopping around. I don't even know where I want to go. I'm just, as it comes to my head, I'm going to talk about it. It was just a whole different feeling out there. totally different place. Nothing like this. It looked so evil getting there. You could just see all the issues, all the problems. But once you've seen what God was doing there, like he's providing $1 million electric bill. Like, how in the world does something like that happen? So God's already there before you get there. He's working on something. He started that facility off of one guy with a table outside, sharing and preaching the gospel. And it's grown into $1 million a month electric bill. That's pretty amazing to me. Just to see the people there too, when you have an addict that goes from, heroin to crack, and, now they're addicted to all that kind of stuff, but now they're addicted to the gospel. That's just amazing to see, somebody that's had that strong of an addiction turns it and changes it to the right addictions. And that's something else to see there. That was, you can't really describe this kind of stuff. You can hear, you can listen to me ramble about it. You can hear David talk about his missions trips where he goes and works, and Keith going to Philly and stuff. But that's a whole week or 2 weeks or however long it may be of just seeing what's going on, and to come up here and try to explain it to you, it's not firsthand. So it's lacking a whole lot. If you actually go and you see what we're trying to explain, what we're trying to talk about, you'll have your own thing. It's a lot more there than just an hour's worth of talking about it. There's always something for you to do out there. The lady that I've gone with, Keith's aunt, she's 60 couple years old. The doctors say she has AFib. The doctors say she's only got 40% of her heart, but that's what the doctors say, because I could not tell that at all. I've seen that lady go for 20 hours straight. We've walked all over the place in the heat and everything else, and if she can do it, I'd say pretty much all of us can do that. It's pretty amazing to go with somebody that's just led by the Lord, and you can obviously tell that that's where her strength comes from. I had a really good time going with her on those trips this year. So we got to make room for God to do whatever He wants to. We need to take time to pray and have a relationship with Him. Take time to listen. But how can you tell if what you hear is from God? I have a lot of different thoughts come in my head on a daily basis, and trying to judge, was this just me thinking, or is this God? Where's this coming from? Had a preacher over the last couple of years, I heard, he said, if you're trying to figure that out, if you're trying to see what you're hearing come in your mind, if that's from God, just ask yourself, well, if I follow out what I'm hearing, will it glorify God? And if that's a yes, then yeah, it's probably from God what you're hearing. So that had a lot to do with everything that I've tried to go on this year. I didn't feel like California was ever a place I wanted to go, but kind of felt like, well, if I go, yeah, that can glorify God. So maybe God's telling me to take off and go there. Same with the Rapidan camp, going and being with the kids and getting to have a week with them, which was a lot of fun. And me and Wesley had a good time up there, getting to climb the rock walls and swimming. And we had church every day and see the kids out there. They go to have an altar call. Who here knows the Lord? Every hand just went up pretty much immediately. They didn't have any fear. They weren't bashful. The Bible tells us 365 times to fear not. It's pretty cool. You don't have to be qualified. You have to be willing. God qualifies the called. When we step out of our comfort zone, we have to really move when God's leading to who and what we say, who to talk to, and you kind of put yourself in those situations that will strengthen your faith. just don't let fear hold you back. Don't let fear of what other people is going to say about you. I was a little fearful of being up here this morning. I know most all y'all are family. I've known y'all my life, but still a little intimidating. I get fearful to sing during worship. I get fearful to pray out loud. Those are things that I'm working on. I feel like some of those voices in my head saying, don't sing, you're going to cry. No, I'm not going to listen to that no more. I'm going to do it anyways. And I grew up seeing Marty like that and him showing, hey, it's okay to get emotional. And I appreciate that, Marty. Things like that, they're noticed. But yeah, go. Don't be afraid to lift your voice in worship. Even if you do get emotional, it's okay. That's the Spirit of God's working in you. When you feel God, if you get emotional, don't let Satan try to tell you to hide it. Don't put your light up under there and not let it show just because you're afraid of what somebody's going to think. Find you a prayer group. Go pray out loud. Do that with somebody. It's definitely something that sometimes when I get to doing that, I get emotional too. And a lot of times I've let it shut me up, let it stop me from doing what I needed to do. If you get a chance, just go for it. Make room for God. Take time to help Him accomplish His plan. If you've got a pulse, you've got a purpose. So I want to tell you about one of the things out in California we done. There was an International House of Prayer out there, and we had went to that one night. Well, I got a long ways to go in California. I think we might just be getting started here. Let's start at the beginning. So when we first made it to California, kind of figuring our way around, we get all the flights, everything went smooth. We get into town and find our room. The facility we stayed at is the Dream Center. It's an old hospital that they've converted to a facility now. So we kind of got hospital rooms. We put our stuff through there, and we went throughout the town, just kind of gallivanting on our own. Just, we had a free evening, so we took and went out to, goodness, what was the name of that thing? What was the name of the, Santa Monica, yeah. Golly, there's a lot of people out there. It's not like here. It's beautiful. The sunsets out there are amazing. You're looking at them going down over the Pacific. The mountains just kind of go right into the water. It's really pretty there. We didn't really do a whole lot, just kind of taking in a little scenery. The next day, I think we done a food truck, and then so I was there with Debbie and her two granddaughters, 13 and 14 years old. We went walking through Hollywood on our own, just to go take it in. We haven't done any missions work yet out there or anything. Walking down through Hollywood, we passed a guy digging in a trash can. I don't even think he had clothes. I think he was wrapped in a towel, and that was it. Digging in a trash can. We made it just not even the width of this church past him. And the youngest girl, she said, I really feel like we need to do something for this guy. She said, there's a smoothie shop right there. Let's get him something to eat. Okay, so we get him a smoothie, and man, he lit up something. I mean, he was just so thankful to have somebody willing to help him out. There's so many people through there like that, though, and everybody just walks right on by them. Don't give them a time of day to do anything for them. So she wanted to do that, so we got him a smoothie, give it to him. He lit up. We offered prayer. We got to pray for him, and then he actually prayed for us. It's like, whoa, okay, cool. So that was a 13-year-old started that. I say started it. It never stopped the rest of the week. That's what that's what we were there to do at that point. That's what we done. I had a backpack full of Little Debbie cakes. We had gotten out of church Sunday and went to the dollar store, and I loaded up a backpack. Little Debbie cakes, some cosmic brownies, just granola bars, stuff to hand out while we were there. I feel like God must have told me to do that, because we sure did use those. From there on, we'd put a gospel tract in our pocket and a Little Debbie cake, and everybody we'd come to that looked like they needed something, we would give them a little snack and offer them prayer, and it was well received. I was shocked. I didn't think it was going to go over so good. You mean I can just go witness to somebody, go ask them what they need prayed for, what's your needs, what are you lacking? It was really simple. Yeah. I was really amazed at how God had gone before us, and had people there to talk to, had people to pray with. I feel like he led us to the people he wanted us to talk to. I feel like he led us to the people to pray with. It's pretty amazing. So we've done a lot of that. We've done a lot of grocery handouts. Skid Row was by far my favorite part of it. It was just going through. We would take wagons and drinks and packs of crackers, and we would just fill up the wagons, take 2 wagons, and we would just going on down through the streets and go sit down beside somebody, go talk to them, witness to them. We sat down beside people smoking crack and talked to them during that. And hey, called to talk to everybody. We're not just preaching to save people. We're going to talk to whoever we feel like we need to talk to. And I feel like it was received. The guy that we sat down with, he said, "Yeah, I used to go to church. I know." It's like, hey, Jesus still loves you. Every time you sitting there, have that in your hand, Jesus still loves you. It doesn't change anything. He doesn't want you to be doing that, but he still loves you. He cares about you. He has plans for you. He has hopes and, a plan in your life. And, you can, when this guy beside you comes to, talk to him. It was nice. Let's get back to the International House of Prayer. So we went there one night, had a good time. I guess they pretty much go at least 12 hours a day, open 7 days a week, have music, prayer, things. So I guess it was the last night. So we did a lot of buses. We used the transit system a lot. And coming from here, we're not used to that sort of thing. So that was a little bit to try to figure out and try to navigate. So we would hop on one bus and kind of try to figure out how to get to where we were going, have to get off that and get on another bus line, like trying to figure out the metro or something. It was a little confusing. So the 2 girls I was with, they had a Taylor Swift thing going on over there. So they wanted to go. Wasn't even going to worry about trying to get inside and hear it, but they wanted to be outside and see the merchandise and go through with the people. And I didn't feel comfortable trying to just let them navigate their way there by themselves. So I went with them, got them there. I said, as long as y'all are good, y'all are going to Uber back out of here, when you're done. I said, but I'm taking off. I felt like I had other places to be. So I left there. They were good with that. They had Uber. They were able to Uber out there. We tried not to use Uber too much because it cost a decent little bit, and that was an hour away from the Dream Center. And then the International House of Prayer was about an hour away from where we had went to the Taylor Swift thing. So I was going to catch an Uber from there to the Pie Hop in Pasadena. And So I just started walking. Had to get away from all that crowd to even begin to try to find an Uber driver. As I'm doing this, I've got 7% charge left on my battery. So I was hoping I wasn't going to get stranded by myself. I'd never found them. If I tried to go meet back up with them, I don't know where I'm at. I can't walk that far. I'm going to struggle to try to figure out the transit. So I was really hoping I was going to get a ride out of there, find me an Uber to the place. And I felt like once I got there, I'd be fine. Well, my first Uber went through, it didn't go through. I couldn't get things to work. So I walked a little farther, got me an Uber, and had 5% left on my phone by then. So I hop in the back of the car with this guy, and it's a 45-minute trip to the house of prayer, and I felt like God had me in that situation for a reason. My Uber driver was a ex-Soviet soldier. We were talking. He had studied Muslim. He had studied other religions. He said, my parents was kind of Christian. They had a Bible. He said, I read the thing, but I couldn't understand it. I didn't get a lot of it. The New Testament was a little bit easier to understand than the Old Testament. He was, and his mindset was, I can be good, I'll make it to heaven. If I treat everybody how I want to be treated, if I'm a nice person, I'll be there. That's what we're supposed to do. Well, in that 45-minute ride, I had the opportunity to share the gospel with him. And Keith's going to put up there a picture of this. This is a kind of symbolism that Phil Robertson and them use from Duck Dynasty. He came, he died, he rose, he ascended, and he's coming again. So for me, that was an easy symbolism and an easy way to try to explain the gospel to this guy. And I feel like every sermon you ever hear in the church is something to do with one of those steps right there. I was able to share it with him, and he seemed pretty receptive of it. When we actually got to the house of prayer, I said, well, come on in with me. He's like, all right. So he clocks out of his driving shift, finishes his day off, comes into church with us. After he's heard the gospel, he gets to hear some songs too. Gets to have some prayer time too. What he done after that, I have no idea. But what God can use that, what he can do with that, he can water that seed. He can change that guy's life. He can change that guy's family's life. That guy has, I think he said he had 3 kids that live with him. What can be done with that? Now, I didn't feel I had any special abilities or any training, I scooted through high school with a D+, But I can understand that. God doesn't need a pastor to share the gospel. He needs us to do that. That's their responsibility. The church is great. This is where we come to learn. But we got to be out there to get people in here. We need to share it outside. We don't just need Sunday morning faith. We need it every day of the week. So I want to go through some of that gospel and show you that this unschooled guy standing up here, if I can get it, you can get it, and you can share it too. It's the gospel. He came. Who came and why did he come? The Messiah, Jesus, the Son of God, the ones prophets spoke about over 700 years before his birth. Luke 19:10, to seek and save the lost for a sin problem. That's what he came for. What is sin? I don't have a sin problem. What is sin? Sin's anything we think, anything we say, or anything we do that breaks God's law. Well, I'm not a murderer. I hadn't murdered anybody. What's that have to? No, that's not quite what we're saying here. Think, say, or do. If you look at somebody that you don't like, if you thought about it, that's all it takes. Whosoever shall keep the law and stumble on one point is guilty of all of them. There is none righteous, no, not one. So we do have a sin problem. Everybody does. The whole world does. Each and every one of us. So that's why he came, to fix our sin issue. What did he die for? What's the whole death about? Well, God made him who had no sin to be our sin, to pay our penalty for us, so that we might become the righteousness of God. How do we receive that? The righteousness of God comes through faith in Jesus to all who believe, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So that's a grace thing. The glory of God. We're justified freely by his grace. We can't earn it. There's nothing we can do to get it, but to receive it. Romans 4:24 says, for it is that righteousness shall be imputed to us who believe. I say we don't earn it. We're justified through Christ. Justified, never sinned. Isaiah 53, he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of peace was on him. By his stripes we are healed. That's what he died for. So we ain't gotta try to be good enough. He did it for us. Just receive it. He arose. Third thing on there. He died once for every sinner, placed in a tomb, and rose on the third day. And he said to them, so it was written that the Christ would suffer and rise from the dead on the third day, and that the repentance for forgiveness of sins would be proclaimed in his name to all the nations, beginning in Jerusalem. You are my witnesses of these things. And behold, I am sending you the promise of my Father upon you, sending us his Holy Spirit to help us, show us what to do, what to say, where to go, who to speak to. He did all this for us. And him raising from the dead, it fulfilled the scriptures, provided salvation, guaranteed our resurrection, defeated death. If he defeated it, we can defeat it too. Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he was raised on the third day, that he appeared to Cephas and then 12, and then over 500 people, and performed many works and miracles over 40 days until he ascended. That brings us to the fourth one there. He proved it. It's not just written here. It's many people seen this, you know. Not just somebody's word. It's multiple people's word. He was taken up and received into a cloud. Last thing there. All those first four things have already happened. It's all done. It's all been documented. There's one thing left, though, is when he comes back. We celebrate holidays for Christmas, holidays for Easter. The whole world knows what happened. It's not just a fable. We even count time by this. Him dying 2,000 years ago. I don't have a whole lot to say about his coming back, but we may witness it here, we may not. We may see it from heaven, we may see it from hell. But he's coming back one day. That's what this word tells me. Maybe our kids will see it. Maybe it's going to be another 2,000 years. Might be next week, could be tomorrow. Nobody knows. But everybody in this room right now is guaranteed to see our Creator within the next 120 years. Young, old, all of us. We're going to see Him in the next 120 years. It's going to happen. My question, who's going to accept it before it's too late? Who can you be a light to? Can you be salty? Can you sow some seeds? We're all called to be part of the Great Commission. We all should have a goal to bring somebody back with us. Right. That's the only thing left is He's coming. We all have family members that we can share faith with. I just presented the gospel to you in a couple minutes. We all know these things. Sometimes we try to overthink it. But hey, He came, He died, He rose, He ascended, and He's coming back. That's the basics of it. If you can remember that, you can share that. That's what needs to be shared. That you don't have to feel. If He can use me to go speak to somebody, to go witness to somebody on the streets in a place that I'm scared to be at, I don't feel comfortable in, and He can use you somewhere too. Each and every one of these trips we went on, there was something that someone could do there that would be in your abilities, in your wheelhouse. You might have to step out your comfort zone a little bit to do it, but God can use you on any of these trips. Whether that's folding clothes, doing dishes. We've done a lot of dishes in Jamaica. There's no dishwashers there. You are the dishwasher. You got 30 kids eating 3-4 meals a day. That's a lot of dishes to do. And it was fun to do. We had a good time. So one of the little girls come up there and helped us one night do the dishes. She just doing the best she could. She was having a good old time doing it too. It was a blessing to see those kids out there. They have one pair of pajamas, one pair of school clothes. So during the nighttime, night shift wash their day clothes. During the day, day shift wash their night clothes. They didn't have to have a closet full like we do. They got a pantry, but you can't just walk in there and get what you want out of it at any old time. They still had joy. Where's their joy come from? Their joy doesn't come from a bank account. Their joy doesn't come from a pantry full. It comes from God. They had that. It was nice to hear that Christ is still spoken of in the school systems there. They hear the kids singing worship songs at their breakfast. You got preschoolers reciting the Lord's Prayer. I need to tighten up. I need to learn that too. Why ain't I done that yet? There's always something else we can do, something else we can teach them, something else we can be taught. Gosh, I was taught a lot this summer. I was taught you don't have to be nothing special. Just go do it. You just got to be willing. God will use you if you're willing to go. was really happy to be able to take Lindsay and Caitlin along this year and go to Jamaica with. I know they got to see a lot and was able to experience. I wish I was able to take them to California with me. That was something else too. Now that I know, now that I've gone, I definitely want to go back. I'd like to bring some more people with me. You can hear me try to explain it, and I can't do a whole lot of justice for it. But you could take and go, and then you can figure out how to explain it. There's something there for you as well. I left some flyers on the back there for the Robin's Nest. Sponsor a child if you want to. Look at the flyers, read into it, check them out on Facebook, scan the little QR code, see if that's something maybe you'd be interested in going and checking out next year. It costs $35 a month to sponsor a child. If you can't go, maybe you can do something like that for them. That guarantees that they have a place there for the next year. They don't have a whole lot. They've got better than a lot of places do, I'm sure. There's something that can be done there. If you're interested in going on a trip to California, if you want to go check it out, if you want to hear more about it, I can tell you some more about it. I'm trying to be respectful of your time here this morning, not keep you, but let me know if that's something you're interested in, something you want to check out. God's there, God's working. He's going to continue it whether we're there or not. If we're not there, he'll get somebody else to do it. But I think that's about all I got for you this morning. Just remember that gospel there, those little pictures there have made it easy for me to make the main thing the main thing. I don't want you to think I'm coming up here telling you, hey, look how good I done this summer. Look at me. That ain't it. I can spend more time up here telling you what I failed at than what I've done this year. That was just 3 weeks of my summer. But they were a good 3 weeks. Whatever I ended up having to pay to go do it was well worth it. God provided that. God provided me the time off by getting out of my old job and starting to work for myself. I don't think work would have liked it too well, take 3 or 4 weeks out this summer and go. But God had a plan in that too. And he's provided just fine for me. I've been able to go and I'm not stuck in debt from it. So just take the time. If you're willing, he'll make a way for you. Thank you all.